And so I'm handing the virtual mic over to Kiri and to Brandon for the next part of our event this afternoon.
Thank you. B, you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So, Brandon and I been talking for quite a while actually about Brandon's experience in the UK, and it felt really quite prevalent that we shared a bit of that today, given that, you know, this is still going on for Brandon, and we just want to get more of a sense of, for you, Brandon, especially, you know, what that's been like. So the first thing I wanted to ask is, how old were you when you came over to the UK?
So I came here when I was 8 years old.
A bit more about that. What was the reasons for that? Or
you know what? I didn't even know, because even in Jamaica now, when I look at it, it's like my parents, they had it planned, innit? Yeah, I used to say 6 months with my dad and 6 months with my granny. So, you know, even like primary school, I never finished a year. I always had to restart the years, because I never, you know what I mean? I wasn't there a whole term. Until one day, you know, there was like, yo, you're going to the airport. And I was like, okay. And then, bam, got here, and that was it. You know, it's like life was going to start again. I knew I had my mum in abundance. Now I wouldn't have to cry when she go down to the shops. You know what I mean? Nah, she was here. It's like that. It's starting a whole new life. You know.
how did you feel, you know, at that age, really young, to be getting on an aeroplane? Did you go on your own? Or you were
So I was with my sister, and she was 10, right? And when we got here, they detained us in one of the rooms because we came up by ourselves. So they detained us for, I think it was like 4 hours or something, until my mum came. And then they picked us up, but they ran us through a whole load of checks, asking us questions. I mean, I didn't answer anything because I didn't know anything. My sister kind of answered everything. And that was it. Yeah, they let us out. So from that experience, I don't know, I was already a little bit angry because, you know, I was being told what to do, like, by my mum's side of the family again. Now I'm in a different country, and, you know, I'm still getting battered around and moved about, you know. And I was very, very angry because, you know, I wasn't free anymore, I guess, you know.
And when you say you wasn't free, is that because there were more kind of rules when you came here to live with your mum, and your mum set those boundaries, or was it a sense of just
It was the environment, the environment. Because out where I was living with my dad, you know, it was just like, the only thing I had to do was go to school. As long as I went to school, it was fine. You know, other than that, we could do whatever we wanted. And I had all my cousins, and they were bigger. So it was a sense like, you know, it was just a little guy that everyone used to look out for, and I used to look out for them because I was the only one for my dad. So, you know, sometimes finance is easier for me because I look after them and so on, you know.
So moving forward then, let's say into your sort of teenage years, and when did this sort of motion of you having to ask for citizenship to stay in the UK?
Well, my mum, she applied like in 2003 after I came. She applied for me and my sister, and they denied it. So she didn't apply again because, you know, she was having problems with living accommodation and that. So I think, I mean, I did get in a bit of trouble in primary school. So when we came around to like, and you know, at 15, I got in trouble again in secondary school. And that was for selling drugs. And we had to apply for it, and they denied it again when I was 17 because, you know, of all the traumas. And that's how I've just realized now that it was actually traumas from just the endings and the beginnings was one of the biggest things for me, because I never finished something, and it was really annoying. So I kind of want to made a mark before I left. I think that's what it was. And they just kept denying it. I wanted to go to college. They denied it. We applied again in 2012. They denied it. Then I got in a little bit more trouble. And then, you know, every time it seems like I was eligible to apply for it, I went and got myself into some kind of mess somehow, because, you know, as I said, it was just that moving thing, innit? I was moving.
So those of us that don't know, so when they deny your citizenship, how long do you have to then wait for you to reapply? How does it work?
So when they deny it, you have to wait like you have to wait 6 to maybe 6 months to about 3 years before you can apply. Depends on how like with me, because I kept getting in trouble, I had to wait the maximum, which is like 3 years apiece. So in all that time, you know, I had to be around people who had it but didn't want to go anywhere in life. But I never had it. So, you know, all the people who wanted to get somewhere in life, they never had time for me, because, you know, I couldn't work, I couldn't support myself, and I was just dead weight to them.
So how were you, so during this time then of you not being successful, what was your life like at that point then? Because if you weren't able to work, how was your housing during that period?
Well, yeah, so throughout my teenage, because I got hit by a car when I was 12, right? And I mean, before I was going to leave England, before 18 or something, I thought I was going to blow up and or I would have just left, and go over back to the States and become some kind of villain robbing banks, and died by like 21. Honestly, I'm be frank, But I got hit by that car at 12, and that kind of messed my head about. So when I got expelled from school when I was 15, and I had to go around finding friends, you know, I actually ended up in a skate park. And I started hanging out with 20-year-olds, 18-year-olds, and there was probably about 4, 5, 15, 16-year-olds there. So them lot, they never really wanted to do much. They wanted to skate and drink beer and smoke weed and take drugs all day. And me, it was just like, well, this is company, you know. I got I'm a musician, so this could be my scene. And that's where it was. That's the only people I knew. All my friends and the people who went off to uni and college and the rest of it, they just disappeared. You know, they became a memory. You know what I mean? So more time, half the situation that I ended up in was kind of like, it's poverty situation, but I didn't really have a choice. You know, I wanted to work and get myself going, because school was a bit difficult for me. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't somewhere that, you know, was go in and learn and take the information and bring it into the world. School for me was like, here's the world. You've got every type of people here, and the teachers were just the authorities. So when you go in there, you know, it's like the friends that you've got. These could be your business associates, your customers. That was my perception, right? So and I fully utilized that. So when I left, you know, I wanted to get into the world. I wanted to go into colleges and but I couldn't, because they were asking for documentation that I didn't have. You see.
What is that documentation, Brandon, that they need? What were they asking for?
Well, you either had to have leave to remain or British citizenship. I was an overstay with no documentation. So essentially, I was legal. I shouldn't have been here. But they never, you know, and I went from 8 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that's like 8 years. You know what I mean? And yeah, so, and they never said nothing. So I don't understand why they never said nothing when I was going through school, and going to doctors and getting prescriptions. Why didn't they say nothing then? Why is it when I came out and I needed to, you know, start adult life and further educate myself, they had to restrict me? I don't understand.
So going into adult life now, how old are you now?
So I'm 26 now.
Okay. Yeah. And what is your status now? Where are we at with everything?
So in like, well, 3 years ago, they finally granted me, discretionary leave to remain.
What does that?
Discretionary leave, they give you a 3-year period, and you are able to work, receive state benefits, and that's it. Right? That's how you can bring finance to yourself. You can't even study because I want to go to university now. You're not entitled to certain things. But that's what you get. You get 3 years, and when that 3 years runs out, you need to somehow have the finance of, I think it's $6,000, to apply for a new one. Right, and you've got to keep applying and keep applying. Where it's $2,000. That's it, $2,000 every time you got to apply. Yeah, I've done it. So, but I've got it last year. I'm on the 2nd phase, so it seems that I've got to now go through the 3rd phase before I can get leave to remain in the country, which will then make me eligible for student loans, then go to university, get a bigger qualification underneath the belt. It's really annoying, because you know, I just wanted to educate myself about something.
No. And one of the things is, you know, you've also become a really great mentor for other young people, especially now on the outreach that we've been doing with other young people. And it's great to see that you're something you can give back to other young people and be that great example. I know that people, you know, really appreciate that when we've done outreach or, you know, like I say, other young people at now. One of the things that I'm really keen to know now for you, Brandon, you know, you've got a daughter yourself now. And what ideally would you like the future to look like for yourself and your daughter?
Well, to be honest with you, I wanted to go on to university and study psychology and some kind of medicine, because, you know, from the road I've walked, the only thing I think that's kind of kept me sane, it was my subconscious, which was this child I was going to somehow have in my 20s, which happened, really enough, you know. So how I would like it to look for us, well, is that I do get leave to remain. It's as simple as that. I don't really want to go down the whole British citizenship and do that, because that means, you know, it's like I'm coming here to just sit down and get comfortable. Personally, I just always wanted to come here for business and move about straight up, because as I know, London is just overpopulated. People come in here every day and it's not easy. And thirdly, you know, ever since I was 11, like winter's not my friend, honestly. Like my hands, oh my gosh, I tell you this, when I was 11, 10, going to primary school, you know, playing snow white with one of my friends who lived on my road. I go into the classroom and I throw my hands on the radiator thinking they're going to warm up. Oh, I would never do that again. You know what I mean? Like the pain was, it saved me though. I didn't have to write for the first hour of the class. But whoa, it was so painful. I think since that day, my blood just hasn't flowed properly. I've just found a little something I could drink to help it. But winter time, it hurts me. So, it's more like it's a travel thing. I've got to be back and forth. I can't just sit here and wallow around and hope something's gonna fall out the sky. And I do hope that when they do grow up me leave to remain, I can go back and forth from Jamaica, because then I'm sure I'll be more productive. So much more productive. You know what I mean? Because you can refresh your mind. People have been telling me I need to refresh my mind, and I'm like, what are you talking about? But now I know what they're talking about. You kind of get stagnated when you live in the city every day, doing the same old.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you sharing, some of your story with us today. And one thing that's always been really clear to us at Cardboard Citizens is your strength and just your ability to keep smiling and, still remain positive through everything that you've been through. And we will always support you and give you guidance wherever we possibly can during the things that you're going through and the transitions. So thank you so much for sharing that with us all today. We really appreciate it.
Citz is one of the greatest companies, you know what I mean? Because there's a mental assurance that's provided here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, everywhere it's like, there's something as soon as you get to the door, you can kind of relax and just forget about, about some of the things that are bugging you, and just distract yourself for the better.
Brandon, I wanted to echo Kiri.
Very much.
I wanted to echo Kiri in a slightly different way, just to say thanks for your contributions to our work all the time. I mean, each time we've got to know each other a little bit better. And when we were doing the plays a couple of years ago, I know you were going through a really hard time at that time. Yeah. But you managed to turn up, you managed to do your thing, and you have such a presence on stage, which I hope you're aware of. You make your mark. So I want to say thanks for that, and I'm looking forward to the next one, man. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Same here. Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Kiri. It's been an emotional afternoon. It's very painful to hear, I think, the kind of the short-sightedness and the kind of human cost of these policies, and how they affect people's lives, and the kind of short-sightedness of these kind of great contributions, the contribution that Vernon has made to kind of British society as a champion boxer, the contribution that Brandon is making and will continue to make, and hopefully go on to university. It just feels it's very painful to kind of be part of a society that isn't kind of valuing this as it should be.